Need for Speed Heat trailer number 2 just dropped. We're gonna break it down right here, right now. This trailer showed us a lot more actual gameplay. There was a little bit in the previous trailer, but this one focuses on telling us everything that we want to know about Need for Speed Heat. So without further ado, let's dive in, break down, show you what I have found in trailer number 2. There have been a lot of mentions of crew in this trailer. If you go through it, they mention that a crew will now show in the HQ, or should I say the garage is where you're going to find your crewmates, go through their cars, and I don't know, see their avatars, for example. This was a pretty cool thing. I'm interested to see how the crew system is going to work. They say it's linked into leaderboards and a bunch of other things. How in-depth is this crew system? Can we make a huge Black Panther crew, Knobhead's crew? Well, hopefully. We'll see. I mentioned in the trailer was that all drive will be available at launch, which is a big one because in Payback there was an issue that the multiplayer was definitely not there at launch. You could play PvP speedless, but you couldn't actually drive around with friends and have a good time. Heat Studio was announced as well, which is a mobile app that lets you customize your vehicles on the go. And the best thing, in my personal opinion, about this app, of course, normally I would see this as a bit of a gimmick. There's no point really if I'm going to play the game. I'd normally play the game, but if I'm out and I want to create a vinyl, this is the place to do it. You get to customize the vinyl in so much more detail. In my opinion, in my head, if you had a tablet and you're stretching and scaling stickers, it's just so much more control over a vinyl. Red multipliers are based on the heat level during the night. So the nights are going to pretty much work like they did in Rivals. You go out, you do events, you return to the garage, you bank that stuff. If you crash and die, you lose everything that you earned during that night. It has a cool kind of scary element to the game. Survival, it makes me feel like there's finally a risk reward thing. It hasn't really been any risks in Need for Speed as of recent, for example, like losing your cars and stuff, but even just losing the rep you have is a step in that direction. Hopefully people get along with it, and so that maybe next time we can lose our cars, please, Ghost. Not sure we can lose our cars, but there was no mention of it in this trailer, which I assume would probably mention that, so no loss of cars. Kill switch from Need for Speed Payback returns. Hopefully there's a few more things like it, like spike strips and whatnot. Helicopter, more footage of the helicopter chasing you. It would seem that in the higher heat levels, that's probably a thing that appears and hunts you down. The game now tells you if reinforcements are on the way, just like Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005. Those pursuits would tell you when reinforcements are coming, and that's when you would get out quickly. There was a countdown timer, and if you didn't get away, well, you're going to be stuck in a pursuit for a little bit longer than you hoped. Around the map, there's a garage and hideouts. There's multiple hideouts, and these, we didn't actually get to see what these consist of. It would appear that they're dotted around the map, and you can go to them at any point, and there's one singular garage, which is where all your friends will be, as we mentioned earlier. Hideouts, I assume, would probably just be cooldown spots, for example. Maybe it switches back to daytime or something. I don't know. Hopefully, though, we can buy more of them and can actually go inside. That would be nice. But this is the meat and potatoes, my friends. The car customization section of the trailer. Now, there wasn't really anything new that I spotted except the names of parts. Some of the manufacturers have changed throughout this video. Normally, there'd be Ghost parts. There's some more manufacturers that Ghost have made up as per se. We also got a first look at the character customization going through the clothes. You can see they're all properly licensed clothes. I had to ask the wife to confirm that because I have no idea. But yes, they are officially licensed clothes. You can customize your character. Hopefully we can, rather than choosing a preset model, actually change our character as well, but we don't know any more details on that. Also, apparently Tyler Morgan is now evil. Yeah. Obviously we spotted it in the trailer, but there is confirmation of BBS wheels. If you go through the wheels, it still looks like it's going to be the same system of scrubbing through, which is kind of unfortunate. Performance upgrades are now in 4 categories: engine, chassis, drivetrain, and auxiliary. Now, I don't know what auxiliary would mean. Does it mean plugging in an aux? In each category, you got different parts, and it would appear as they go through the turbos, they have paid attention to single, twin, supercharger, different types of boost setups, which is fantastic. That was something I was hoping for, because superchargers belong in muscle. Turbochargers, they can. Turbochargers can go in everything else. Muscle, whee! Everything else, choo-choo. Through this, you'll see different level parts. Some of them require level 1000, which I'm not too sure what's going on there. I don't think that would actually be the case, because normally Need for Speed limits us to, I believe, level 70, level 60, something like that. So I highly doubt that's going to be final. But if it is, Hey, I said I was asking for a challenge and you can blame me on that. Also, throughout the garage, I noticed a new grid. As you can see, this shows where the performance tuning level is at. For example, what kind of spec the car is going to be. So it seems like specs as they were are gone, and it's been replaced by the square grid that tells you what it is. And I assume it's based on parts like on 2015, where if you put on drift tires or off-road tires or grip tire, whatever, it's probably going to work out that way. We can have a mix-mash of everything and everything. It's great. As some of you eagle-eyed viewers will have seen the button in the bottom, engine swaps. Holy mate! Engine swaps in Need for Speed. I have waited so long for this. I am going to put an RB in everything. I'm going to put a V12 in everything. Engine swaps in Need for Speed is now going to make it so that, for example, if we have a low-end car that can't get to the max level, well, it can now. And if it can't keep up very well, for example, we have a hatchback of some kind and you want to race against the supercars and the hypercars, you can probably swap the hypercar engines into your Volkswagen. Vanity items have now gone because loot boxes are not going to be in the game. EA confirmed that. Instead, effects has now been born or birthed. As you can see, it's got the tire smoke icon on there. And essentially, I assume we're going to have underglow and stuff in there, which means you can finally just probably buy them or unlock them from driving around or doing challenges or collectibles or something. Exhaust tuning is another cool feature. This is pretty much just taken from the fact that in the previous games, if you change your exhaust, you could change the sound of it. It really didn't work great if you didn't know, if you didn't want to test and leave the garage and test. This essentially will allow you to do sliders and pretty much fine tune the overrun and such of your exhaust, make it more tinny, make it more raspy, whatever you want to do, you can do. Customization, it's great, isn't it? The paint editor has also been reworked. You can see there's multiple new materials, including new carbon styles and multi-tone colors, and perfect. Need for Speed's paint system has been a bit limited for a while, to say the very least. For example, you couldn't really do two-tone, three-tone colors. Now it seems we can properly do that. I wish we got a little view around the car to see those two-tone colors, but two-tone, I'm happy. Something that changed throughout every single race you probably saw on the video is the amount of nitrous bottles that the cars had. Some of the cars had one, some of them had multiple, and they were smaller. I would assume that's how many NOS bottles they actually have and how the size of them. I'm not too sure how this is going to work. Is the bigger bottle going to be a longer tank opposed to multiple? What would the advantage of that be? Is it just based on the time nitrous or the skill nitrous like we've had in previous games? Ghost, I demand answers, please. Also, on some of the race gameplays, I noticed a very strange icon in the bottom corner. I genuinely have absolutely no idea what this is supposed to be. From glance, it looks like some kind of laptop, but it's blocking a number. It looks very placeholder. I don't know what it is. It has multiple bars around. Maybe it's some kind of special ability. Honestly, I would be happy if Speed Breaker returned, but at the same time, you don't have the blowy uppy things, or do they? Another quick spot is the Subaru Hawkeye, I believe. I'm not too sure on my Subarus, but I believe that is a Hawkeye. Throughout the trailer, you may also notice that there's scenes where the cars are on their own, or the cops are arresting players in their own, on their own state almost. It kind of reminds me, not gonna lie, of Forza a little bit, where it just kind of scenes out that stuff. And I think the reason is it's easier to generate people and cars in these blank spaces than it is to generate them in the world itself. I feel I like it because the lighting and stuff, but I also kind of wish that there was a way to actually be pulled over in the real world and stuff. But we did actually see that in the first trailer, but I wonder if that is to do with a cutscene opposed to actually being in-game when you get arrested. A small little update I noticed is in the top corner. You can see now progress percentage and laps, which is great because in some races before, I think it might have just been one or the other. Now you get both, which is bloody brilliant. And I also noticed that Kaiser's design has a big meaty wag. It's beautiful. It is the most beautiful wag I've ever seen in my life, and I can't wait to see all of the Kaiser cars. Please tell me they all have amazing wangs. In the daytime, police are free roaming in the nighttime too, but in the daytime they are less aggressive. They play by the rules as per se of the trailer, and essentially if you do speed, you'll get a fine, and then they'll be on their way, and you can wreak havoc down the streets where they're not there. I wonder how it's going to work. For example, is there going to be a radar that you can unlock or buy, or maybe you just get it from the get-go and it tells you where the cops are and you just turn a different way, for example. I don't know how it's going to work. Essentially, it seems, though, more aggressive at night, easier in the day. And finally, you switch into day and night. You choose the option when you leave the garage. This was already news to some people, but some people may not know. If you go into the garage and you switch, and it flips over, and then all of a sudden, you're in the down under. Australia. But that is pretty much everything available in the trailer. Hopefully you did enjoy. I broke down as much as I possibly could. I went through it quite a few times to try and find every little detail. As I've mentioned before, we're going to be at Gamescom, so we're going to give you the absolute best coverage of Need for Speed Heat. I'm going to cover absolutely everything with my team, Corey, Meadow. We're going to smash it, all right? So expect this week that we're going to get so much footage in terms of customization, racing, night, day, everything. If you noticed something that I didn't, please let me know on Twitter in the comments. Everything as per usual. Be sure to smash the like, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you again in Need for Speed Heat, probably super soon. Until next time, peace.